Good morning, everybody. Good morning, you funny people. How are you? Morning. Morning, Faith. Morning, Lorraine. Morning, Hillary. Morning, Rachel. Morning, Good Chip Lollipop. It's all peace and love. Happy Valentine's, happy Galentines. And when we say happy Valentine's, we aren't saying it from the perspective that couples are the go-to, the aspiration. Not at all. We are welcoming anyone and everyone who's single. Be my Valentine for the next 30 minutes or so. How are you all? How do you feel? How does it, if you're in a couple, do you find Valentine's stressful because you're like, oh, I've got to be really thoughtful today? If you're single, do you think, oh God, I've got to listen to people who are in couples expressing love all over social media? Or is it just a day for big peace and love and a great big love fest? What do you think, guys? Where are you? Carla Hatcham, how are you, my darling? Hope you're well. Big love to you over stateside in that strange place called America. I'm single and it's rubbish, Gabrielle. What, being single is rubbish or Valentine's is rubbish? I mean, I guess it's only a day, but some would argue who are single that every day you have couples rammed down your throat, so to speak. Teeny tiny lass, feel absolute crap got made. Oh no, sweetie, teeny tiny lass. Can everyone send teeny tiny lass all our love and all our support, sweetie? We've got a big surprise coming there in terms of our content. It's been a long time coming, but it is coming. Sending you love, sweetie. So sorry to hear that. I'm sure everyone in the room will be sending you love. Christopher Cundall, morning, Mark. Hope you're well, mate. Big hugs and much love. Oh no, sadly lost my grandma yesterday. Looking forward. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God. Oh, don't, Chris. I was so close to my nan. That's just awful, awful. Sending you love, sending teeny tiny lass love. Sharon Carter says she ignores it all. Zoe Agnew, worst day of the year. Oh God, guys, I've misread the room. I've pitched this light and breezy, but clearly it's not that sort of a vibe, is it? The amount of men in the supermarket buying flowers was embarrassing at Leicester Great. I want to share with you a thought that I had with one of my children, and it was a very funny thought regarding the ick. Of course, Valentine's, if you are in a couple, freshly in a couple, if you're in the foothills of a relationship or wanting a relationship, and all that kind of stuff. The ick, which is something we discussed a couple of days ago, is a big problem for men. You've got to be careful that you don't give the ick, and you know, you can give the ick temporarily, or you can also give the ick permanently, in which case it's terrible. I was told by someone today that just the very back of a man's head can give you the ick. And I was like, and what I think she meant by that was they're unaware of the back of it. It was very, very funny. It was one of the kind of conversations me and the girls tend to have, but it's like, yes, I know what you mean. The total lack of awareness that men have over the back of their heads is a bit icky. Cassie R, it's all commercial, but not complaining about the bunch of roses I got and homemade from my card from my son. That's sweet. That's sweet. Yes, of course, back in the days when you were kids and the only Valentine you could think of was mum or dad and all that kind of stuff. My husband and I do not do Valentine's, says Vic. It's too commercial and gives us the ick. I do slightly feel like they waited for us to go live before kind of doing that. Happy birthday, Abby Reed. Happy birthday. Faith Goodman's in the room saying she saw Bridget Jones yesterday, missing Tony. Oh, bless you. Tears streaming down, but laughed too. So enjoyed it. Sweetie, of course. Sending you all our love. And yes, indeed, me and Nads will be watching and we'll be reviewing. We'll be talking about Bridget Jones in this live. In fact, we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about? Trump's peace and love. Is he all peace and love, or is he kind of peace and love with a crowbar behind your head? Or is it the kind of peace and love of a kind of mobster coming in and going, we love you, but secretly you're going to get shot if you don't do what I'm saying? How most lovers meet. This can be, even if you're single, how have you met people? Have a think about the conditions in which you've met people, through friends, through work, on a dating app, all that kind of stuff. And we're also going to discuss, I quite like this headline. I mean, you know, it's not surprising. I mean, Bridget Jones isn't the kind of movie aimed at people like me, men of a certain age. But this is a piece that I was quite drawn to, how in real life, Bridget Jones would die if she was to consume the amount of Chardonnay and smoke the number of cigarettes and eat the food that she ate. So don't aspire to Bridget Jones. You might want her pants, but yeah, she'd be dead. Zoe, I hope Nad's post last night was for you. She didn't even tag me in. I got a little bit concerned there. I was thinking, oh my God, I wonder if this is for John Campbell or something like that. Oh, do you like the mug? Yeah, thanks. Well, okay. Well, given that we're talking about Bridget, let's just, you know, I'm willing to admit that I don't get the Bridget thing. I mean, I know it was a thing. I get that it was the 90s. Was it the 90s? I mean, I remember working with Helen Fielding. One of my very good friends was Helen Fielding's literary agent. So we used to book her for quite a few chat shows and stuff like that back in the day. And I loved Helen Fielding. She was lovely. I found her really really nice. Renée Zellweger and Bridget Jones. I mean, okay. What is it about Bridget Jones that you like? Tell us what. Let's just keep it simple. Tell us what you like. You should sell them mugs. I'd buy one. Would you, Jackie? Do you like that? It's quite nice, isn't it? It's not as small as I was hoping. It's a nice old enamel one. Has a great soundtrack. The first one. That's not really Bridget though, is it? I've never seen Bridget Jones. Stuart G. Crescent Moon 6788. Give us more. Put more meat on the bones. She's funny as fuck. How is she funny? How is she funny? I want to know. I want to understand. I want to go into tonight's film or tonight's film thinking, yeah, come on, give her a go. It's a bit of nostalgia for me, Carla Hatcham. Bridget Jones, not my cup of tea, says Bridget Lollipop. I love the first one, probably like the others more than loved them. It's more than nostalgia now. She was flawed and funny. Self-deprecating? Is she self-defecating at any point in it? I can't remember. Does she shart? I think she might. She's kind of iconic. I get that. I know she is, but why? Is it because she... Okay, let me try and stab at why it might be. She's not afraid to be her authentic self, which is both sexy, unsexy, frumpy, not frumpy. It's a bit like the Shirley Valentine thing. Is that it? I just love the big pants, says Carla Hatcham. Here we go. Her insecurities, Rachel Mason, 007. The name's Mason, Rachel Mason. Her insecurities are so relatable. The self-loathing and quest for love. There you go. Okay, I get it. Self-loathing reminds you of yourself, Deborah Holdsworth. She's like us, real Charlene Evans. So this is interesting. Let me pop this graphic up then, because the Guardian's reporting pre-sales are bigger than Barbie, as Bridget Jones 4 is set to break box office records. I think this is a quintessentially English phenomenon. I mean, I think it's successful in America, but never quite so successful. So do you think that's pre-sales are bigger than Barbie? See, I think what this film let's go from the film business perspective. I think this is tapping into the same thing that, to be honest with you, Top Gun tapped into. I wasn't a Top Gun fan in the original film, but when I saw Top Gun, the sequel, it was all right. What I did like was an absolute fast track, crack-induced injection into my eyeball of 90s, 80s, 90s nostalgia. It's 80s, I think, Top Gun. So maybe that's what we're going to get here. Faith Goodman, she's not fake. It was packed. Trying to get a ticket has been problematic. Nadia said, all we're going to get tonight from the cinema is COVID. Romantic dinners are happening here, though. Oh, yeah. Various members of the family are in relationships, so they're all having romantic dinners. I could relate to the first one and probably the most recent. So there've been 3. I seem to remember Bridget Jones 2 and 3 weren't quite as... It's a bit like Jaws 2, wasn't it? I'm not likening her to a Jaws, to a shark, rather. Female counter to Confessions of Window Cleaner series from 70s, Edward Bevington. God, I haven't even thought about Confessions of a Window Cleaner in years. She's afraid to be her authentic self, Ali Jack. But despite that, she is, and people love her for it. I love Bridget Jones, and it's definitely not for nostalgia. You see, the weird thing is, the reason I don't want to give Bridget a kicking as an idea is because I so liked Helen Fielding, the writer. She was incredibly clever and witty and classy. And dare I say, I think I had a bit of a crush on her. She was Ooh, she was, yeah. Ooh, and so I think obviously she's probably folded a little bit of herself into the character of Bridget Jones. Crescent Moon. Bridget, does she take mushrooms? Does she? I love a drug taking scene in any film. Does she take drugs tonight? But anyway, well, let's go in with how in real life Bridget Jones would be dead. If Bridget Jones was living her life and consuming the amount of Chardonnay that she does in the films, some leading medical experts have said that Helen Fielding's wine-drinking, chain-smoking character would have faced some serious health problems as a result of her lifestyle choices. This is it. So a couple of doctors have analysed her diaries. They've analysed her habits, and they warn that her intake would have had a disastrous impact on her health. So be careful how relatable you find her, Zoe. Please, I beg of you, be careful. Any of the women in the room. She ends up in prison in the second, bloody hell. Okay, so Dan Baumgart, senior lecturer in physiology, pharmacology, and neuroscience at the University of Bristol, has said that Jones, had Bridget Jones continued her habits, she would have suffered what he calls untimely death by Chardonnay. Over a year, by all accounts, if you extrapolate the facts from the books, extrapolate her behavior and the script of her films, this is what she would have taken in over a year. She would have drunk 3,836 units of alcohol, and she would have chain smoked 5,277 specific cigarettes, and she would have binged a remarkable 11 million calories across the year. In fact, the doctors say, the medical establishment says, Bridget Jones's intake was considered so problematic that the book's original publishers felt obliged to include a warning and a disclaimer that her lifestyle was not sustainable. There's a trigger warning. Do not live your life like Bridget Jones. As if to kind of clarify something we didn't know already, smoking is notorious for causing cancer, lung, bladder, kidney, stomach cancer. Smoking negatively affects cardiovascular health and fertility. But he did praise, in the more recent film, in the film that's released today, the fact that she's replaced smoking with nicotine patches. So she's obviously on a move towards health. But he does say that if she continued along the route that she was originally along, she would have died, and she would have officially died of Chardonnay-itis. That's apparently it. I didn't realize that was a thing. Chardonnay-itis. It's where too much Chardonnay just destroys the inner organs. Do I like Renée Zellweger? I think she's a bit of an acquired taste. One thing I would say was I thought she was remarkable as Judy Garland. I mean, she's experienced a remarkable transformation over the years as well, hasn't she? I mean, I don't know what that's about. Did you like her in Cold Mountain? Yeah, it's all right. Jackie Valino, good film, Cold Mountain. Pretty certain I'm worse than Bridget and Lost. Last time I checked, I'm alive. Yeah, no, I mean, they're saying that if she did this literally from the moment of first film through to now. So just be careful. Just be careful. There is two scenes of her swinging from a wine bottle, but it's toned down. Oh, I know a few drinkers who've had long lives, says DP. So do I. They've had long lives, but they're pretty fucking miserable by the end, and they smell. So that's a little bit of kind of just context for you. But anyway, we'll be giving a very honest review. And believe me, look, we're going into this film knowing it's not my cup of tea. So we're not exactly coming at it from a kind of, what is this a remarkable piece of filmmaking? We're going in for nostalgia, relatability, and fun. I wish we were going in for romance, but big pants don't do it for me. So let's move on. So peace and love. Before anything else, I just want to show you this remarkable clip of a kayaker at sea, and watch what happens here. Zoe, Nadia's already messaged me saying, what do we do if we like the film? I said, well, we say we like the film. That's what we do. Check this out. Just idly kayaking. There you go. Oh, and there comes a humpback whale and swallows you. Look at that. The reason I'm being so sort of breezy is in a minute, the humpback whale burps. And there we go. Hey. Hey. God for indigestion. What I say?
Yo pensé que me había comido ya y que me había tragado.
For those of you listening in podcast, he's now talking, I think, in Mexico. I think he might be Mexican. It would be funny if this happened in the Bay of Mexico or the Bay of America. He says, I thought it, I'll turn the volume down. He says, I thought it had eaten me and swallowed me. At first, when I thought I had died, it was like a sort of terror. Not surprising, eh? And I thought, no, there was nothing I could do. But there he goes. Oh. When I started to float, I was really afraid that something would happen to my dad as well. Oh. Worried I'd get hypothermia. I can't get over that size of the hump at the end. But when I got out, I understood that, of course, it was probably out of curiosity that the whale had. Can I just say, this guy is extraordinarily easygoing about the fact that he's just been swallowed and then belched out by a humpback whale. I mean, the guy's wearing a poncho and just chatting about it like, well, you know, I'm sure the fucking whale was a bit curious and was just going for a... Mate, you've just literally gone into a whale. What's the name? What's the biblical story? I know Pinocchio goes in a whale, but that's not biblical. I know my Bible, and I know Pinocchio ain't in the Bible. What's the bait? Is it Jehovah? Jehovah? No, Jonah. Jonah and the whale. Sadie C, you don't expect that. No, you don't. Absolutely not. You want to have another little look at it, of him going in, knowing that he comes out? Check this out. What I think is quite funny is obviously the whale thought, oof, that tastes horrible. Wow, what a mouthful. Boosh. I'd never get... He seemed very sort of... Yeah, just got swallowed by a whale, Dad. Are you all right? Yeah, no, I'm fine. Watch it. It's going to... I mean, that's something prehistoric, isn't it? That humpback. Good God, it's insane. Okay, so does this image resonate with you at all? Peace, love, and Trump. I mean, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because I think we have to sort of try and tackle this a little bit. Trump's peace and love. Is he going to bring peace to the world? I suppose here's the thing. So tell me what you think. He claims he's trying to do this thing. Let's just home in on Gaza for a moment. A bit of a gear change here. Let's home in on Gaza for a moment. It's all peace and love. We're going to go back to how lovers meet. Yeah, who made that image? I think Trump fans. Peace, love, and Trump. See, the weird thing about this is we've got Trump trying. I don't even think he's trying. I think Trump is so detached from reality that when he says we're going to build nice homes for everyone in Gaza, we're going to take them out, we're going to put them somewhere else, we're going to have lovely homes, a little parcel of Jordan, a little parcel of Egypt, we're going to make them all live in harmony, it's going to be a really rich place, it's going to be really nice. I think he genuinely thinks that's a good thing. He's such a real estate. I don't think he's thinking let's punish the Palestinians. I think he's actually thinking real estate, but what he doesn't get is it's ethnic cleansing. There's no way around this. Let's just try. I'm trying to let's try and be in the POV of Trump. And he's going, what's all the fuss about? Why does everyone get it? This is peace. This is love. We just move everyone out. It's a horrible land. It's a horrible, horrible piece of land. And it's just devastated. People are dying. But yeah, people are being killed, Trump. So Donald Trump, I think he genuinely, he just doesn't, I don't think he understands that this is their homeland. They are an indigenous people. I don't think Trump's someone who's probably ever reflected on the Native American Indian situation of North America. So in his own head, he's thinking, what's all the fuss about? This is peace, this is love, this stops fighting, this is lovely. By the same act, I think he's thinking, I know what, I'll pick up the phone to Vlad, say to Vlad, you're a good guy, you're a good guy, I'm a good guy, we're all good guys, can we stop the war? And there's just the minor detail, Donald, of Ukraine. Of course, if you phone up Vlad the Impaler and you say to him, mate, can we stop the war? Can we stop the... Vlad will be like, yeah, of course we can stop the war. We'll keep what we've got. And that's the end of that. But you can't call peace and not have spoken to Ukraine. So as Charlene Evans, he's a horrible what's it. he's quite a big what's it. You know, the giant what's it. You know, when you get a bag of giant what's it, they come out. Here, I'm back. I'm a what's it, and I'm in your hand. Doesn't care about anyone except himself, complete narcissist. Exactly. None of this is about actual peace. This is all about, he's got a bee in his bonnet, and I think he thinks he's going to win the Nobel Peace Prize. What he might achieve for like 12 hours concurrently around the world is a stop in hostilities in Ukraine, a pause. There is the pause, and theoretically there isn't a pause in hostilities, because go to the West Bank and ask the children who are still being shot across Gaza by snipers. But he'll be able to claim publicly, I stopped all the wars, and then if they all start again, it's someone else's fault. He has spoken to Zelensky, but it's going to be interesting. So here's the thing. So now he has, yes, of course, he has spoken to Ukraine now. So originally it's like, hey, we're going to be a flat route. But of course, anyone can get peace if you just say, all right, let's just stop where we're at. You have what you've got, and you don't have anything. Well, yeah, cool, great, peace. That works for Vlad. But who thinks that's the only way out of this conflict? I mean, none of us, everyone says they don't want Vlad to have got these bits of Ukraine. But if that's the only way to stop the death of tens of thousands of people, do we accept it? Or do we have another more and more tens of thousands of people die for the sake of a portion of land? And I mean, I know it sets a precedent, but look, Trump's trying to do it in Greenland. He's trying to do it in Canada. He'd like to do it in Mexico. He's basically redefining the map and renaming everywhere. It's now the Gulf of America. In a minute, he'll change Mexico into, I don't know, Mexus, the sort of the 51st state. Billy Talon, an Englishman in New York. No, an American in London or UK. Let's see what you've got to say, Billy. Would everyone have the same position and opinion if it was Biden who was doing all of this? I feel like it's a bad rap because it's Trump. No, and I think we've been quite outspoken about that, Billy. Biden, I find an unspeakable hope. He's like a flaccid what's it without coloring. Whereas Trump's a what's it with coloring. He's a full what's it. But Biden, no, equally bad. Trump, the thing about Trump is you know what you're getting. And I've said this a lot about unfortunately, about like the Tories and all that sort of stuff. You know what you're getting. It's when you think you're getting something else, like with the Labour Party, and then you get the same thing, or you think you're going to get something else with Biden, but actually Biden supported, funded, and fueled the genocide, and then Donald Trump's now after the genocide, or once it's done most of its damage, is trying to carve it up afterwards. So for me, Biden is worse than anyone in a sense. But my thinking here is that I don't see how the Ukrainian war can stop without someone just coming in and saying, stop, everyone stop, and let's just pause. And if that means there's a kind of peacekeeping kind of sort of army that monitors the border, maybe. My worry is that the only reason Putin is kind of so compliant and responsive is that basically we've got two extraordinarily egocentric kind of characters who both are trying to say to each other, look, I get you. You want a sort of expansionist, expanded kind of Russia. You want an expansionist, expanded America. Why don't we allow each other to do what we want to do a little bit more? And I think that's how this is working. I think what Trump's basically saying to Putin is, I'm going to let you do more of what you want to do, but just bear in mind that means I want to do more of what I want to do. And that could involve parts of the Middle East, it could involve Greenland, it could involve the Arctic and all this kind of stuff. So for me, this is more about two sort of massive kind of egotists wanting to basically just do what they want to do in terms of their country. Now, that's not to say China wants to do the same. Saw an amazing film last night about Iran. God almighty, if you have the seed of the sacred fig, what a film. My God, I'll be doing a review. It's been nominated for an Oscar, but good God. But, Jackie Valina, I think on the one hand, we can all kind of go, no, it's not real. It's not real. It's not peace. It's not peace. Stopping fighting has got to be good, right? And there will be those that, and unfortunately, I think it's most Europeans that are kind of going to say, well, no, but you can't give Putin anything. But what's the alternative? It's easy for Starmer to sit here saying, don't acquiesce, but it's not Starmer's family, is it, on the battlefield in Ukraine losing lives? So I think if they can stop the fighting, Ukraine will have to sacrifice whatever it sacrifices. Maybe Ukraine holds on to the little toehold they've got in Russia as a kind of bargaining chip. And I suppose I was about to say, one day eventually Putin will die, but then all the people behind him are just as frightening. I'm just going to sip from my coffee mining mug. I think you're right. I think basically what I'm trying to say is I'm torn on this. On the one hand, you can't sort of say you want peace, and then because Trump gets some kind of odd progress in that area, then just say it's got to be wrong automatically because it's Trump. It is wrong automatically in the case of Gaza and the ceasefire because he's trying to manufacture some pretend idea of peace and kindness in the act of ethnically cleansing and displacing an entire population. He's pretending that the destruction that's happened in Gaza and is continuing to happen in the West Bank is just happening and isn't actually the consequence of Israel's atrocities. Whereas in Ukraine and Russia, put a stop to it. Whether we like it or not, we are where we're at. There's nothing tomorrow, nothing we do bar entering into World War III is going to stop Putin from having what he's gained in Ukraine. But what could happen is there could be a stop, a pause, and maybe it'll be a fractious pause, but it's a pause nonetheless. Oh, just going to have another drink from my coffee cup. Oh, I wish it was smaller. Nothing to do with the mug, it's to do with the coffee. So we've said it all along, Billy Talon. I hope I've shown some degree of balance there. We can't just say that everything Trump says and does is wrong if he gets results. If the war stops, I think it's going to be a good thing. It's got to be a good thing. But I don't buy into the fact that in stopping or claiming any responsibility for all the nonsense he's talking about Palestine and Gaza, he hasn't achieved anything. He's only making matters worse. So there we go. We don't have enough armed services in the UK to make... Exactly. We can't make any difference. And I think, in a weird way, though, America is cutting Europe loose. Fair dues. Fair dues. I think, yeah, Europe needs to look after Europe and Europe needs to look after Ukraine. And here's the other thing. If, say there was a BRIC nation, say there was a group like NATO full of, the Chinese, Iran, Russia, and they for some reason had a claim on the Isle of Wight, and the Isle of Wight wanted to join their group. Or I often use the analogy of if Mexico wanted to join this group, would America or would we want them to? No. So I think the claims for Ukrainian membership of NATO should pause. I think all hostilities should stop. And I think in whatever peace deal that they strike, whatever kind of territorial gains or whatever the map is now should be drawn, should be protected and should be sanctioned. Mark, that was directed directly. It was more to what the media was saying. I think you both have been fair in your opinion. Yeah. Oh, that wasn't. Okay, there you go. Finally. Okay, let's just take. So yeah, look, there's Trump. Peace and love. Look, blowing a kiss, just in case you didn't. There he goes. He can kiss Trump, though he can't hit his target with his wife. Lovely Trump. Look, there he is. Look, there's a thingy of him snogging Putin. Isn't that lovely? It's all Valentine's. Look, it's love, guys. It's love, peace, love, and harmony. Just everyone love each other, for God's sake. Okay, so how do people meet? Quickly, let's just talk about how do people most regularly meet on Valentine's Day. And here's a breakdown. You've got in dark blue how people would meet in the 1950s. And then in light blue, you've got how they meet in 2024. Back in the 1950s, most people met their other half through friendships, followed rapidly by family. And look at that. Followed by school, back in the day when people met and you had one true love and that was it forever. Neighbors, look, neighbors, 10%. But now it's really the top one is online, not surprisingly. 60% of couples meet online, followed by friends, and then third place, co-workers. I've met someone on eHarmony, but I've only spoken to him on WhatsApp, says Crescent Moon. What's eHarmony? Is that another kind of dating website type thingy-majiggy? Okay, so I'm going to have to move on quickly because I've literally got to go. So let's quickly do the quiz. So I'm pleased you've met someone on eHarmony, but you've only spoken to him by WhatsApp. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I can't work out. Is that should you be worried? I don't know. So here we go. Let's quickly do the quiz of the week. In 5 minutes, it's gonna be quick fire round. You ready? Here we go. Question one. Question one, 5 minutes, yeah? US rapper Kendrick Lamar dazzled TV audiences around the world with a theatrical halftime show at Super Bowl 59. Lamar's set included his controversial hit Not Like Us, a diss track aimed at which rival hip-hop artist? Was it A, Drake, B, Jay-Z, or C, Kanye West? By the way, Kanye and Bianca, they say, are divorcing, but I've heard that before. Who was the diss track aimed at? A, Drake, B, Jay-Z, or C, Kanye West? The answer is A, Drake. Question two, a Hampshire 6-year-old hit the headlines for his work collecting festive plastic confectionery tubs so they could be recycled rather than going into landfill. After managing to save 358 tubs following Christmas 2023, how many did he collect last month? Was it A, 967, B, 1,789, or C, 2,598? How many tubs did a Hampshire 6-year-old collect? Bless him. I remember collecting wine bottles when I was very young because I was playing outside a pub. I should have seen the signs of alcoholism even then. My bedroom smelled of alcohol, smelled of wine bottles. It was just awful. The answer is C, 2,598. Question three, a couple who bought a 32.5 million mansion in West London won a High Court judgment they could have a refund because the vendor, the seller, had failed to tell them the property had an infestation. Which insect did they say had infected the property? Was it A, ants, B, cockroaches, or C, moths? Yeah. A couple who bought a 32.5 million mansion in West London won a High Court judgment they could have a refund because the seller had failed to tell them about an infestation of what? A, ants, B, cockroaches, or C, moths? The answer is C, moths. Question four, some of President Trump's plans to reshape US government hit speed bumps as judges ordered they be paused. But which of these actions has not been held up in US courts? A, closing the US Agency for International Development, B, scrapping diversity, equity, and inclusion, or C, giving Elon Musk's Doge team access to personal financial data? Which of those has not been held up by US courts? A, closing USAID, B, scrapping DEI programs, or B, or C, giving Elon Musk's Doge team access to personal financial data? B, scrapping DIE programs, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is why Disney have scrapped all of their trigger warnings on all of their films and what have you. Question five, celebrities including Stanley Tucci, the Beckhams, Versace, joined King Charles III and Queen Camilla for an evening celebrating Italian cuisine. The event followed Buckingham Palace announcing the royal couple would visit Italy and the Vatican in April as they celebrate which wedding anniversary? A, 15 years, B, 20 years, or C, 25 years? Wow. How long have they been married, King and Queen? Will they be celebrating 15 years, A, B, 20 years, or C, 25 years? Sending you all our love, Kerry. Sorry, sweetie. Sorry to hear that. Everyone's sending their love. 20, you're right. It's B. Lots of love, Kerry. Question six, Monty the Giant Schnauzer beat more than 2,500 dogs from across the US to be crowned best in show at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in New York. But who was the runner-up? A, Bourbon the Whippet, B, Jessie the Toy Poodle, or C, Paddington the Great Dane? What was runner-up at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog in New York? Was it A, Bourbon the Whippet, B, Jessie the Toy Poodle, or C, Paddington the Great Dane? Paddington? I said Jessie the Toy Poodle. The answer is A, Bourbon the Whippet. Question seven. The Brit Award for Global Success will go to an international artist for the first time this year, organisers announced after a change to the rules. Which US singer-songwriter will collect the gong at next month's ceremony? Is it A, Beyonce, B, Sabrina Carpenter, or C, Taylor Swift? The Brit Award for Global Success will go to an international artist for the first time this year, organisers have announced. Which US singer-songwriter will collect the gong at next month's ceremony? Is it A, Beyonce, B, Sabrina Carpenter, or C, Taylor Swift? The answer is B, Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, Kerry, you're joking. My Poppy was a toy poodle. Oh, sweetie. Oh, bless you. Sending you all of our love. All of our love. Sabrina Carpenter. There you go. B. Guys, hope you did well. It's all right, May Edmondson. Don't you worry. You can catch up, spin back, do subscribe, do check out stuff on the channel. A couple of DIY disasters have landed this week. Have been fun. Curly Cooks tomorrow, Coffee Moaning Papers, the Sunday vlog, all sorts of content. Oh, a Sunday show, you name it, everything. You've got funny shit coming from me and Mads at some point, all sorts of stuff. So anyway, guys, have a lovely Friday. 6 out of 7, Laura Williams. That's what I got.